It's always the toughest getting like the first 1,000
Yeah.
followers, but after that, you're going to be golden. So, having started my own record label and, launching my project and then launching other projects, I thought today would be a great topic. Whether you're a record label owner trying to start your own thing and help your artists or your bands, or you're just doing this yourself, and in which case you should become your own music business, your own record label, this video is definitely for you. We're going to talk about launching a new music project and what you should do right away. So, let's just jump right into this. Be sure to like this video if you find this helpful. But, the first thing is please decide what you're doing as far as a musical identity. Okay, this is so important just to determine out the gate. Otherwise, if you are experimenting, then all the goodwill of the fans you're building, it's going to get complicated. So, I would say start with what genre and style of music that you're doing, okay? And just be clear about it. Any
Yeah.
notes you want to add on that?
Yeah. But don't feel like, you have to have, don't work everything so much to where you think you have to have everything completely realized in that first release that you do, or those first couple
Sure.
things. It's
Do
more of just
something. Do
it's more
something.
do something. It's more just kind of picking your lane. So for instance, if you are, maybe you're starting off as a rock band that's just straight up, but maybe later on you want to add some synths, you want to add some programming and stuff, like that's okay. It's more of just kind of figuring out your vibe and all that kind of stuff first,
Okay.
what you want to.
Yeah. So figure out what you want to do, but then execute. So
Yeah,
execution
for
next
sure.
means please go and decide on your name. And I talk
Yes.
about this. We call them knockout searches, but doing some kind of search for what will be your trademark, your name, your logo, it's all your trademark, and you want to actually protect this at some point. But where you're just starting is do a search on music platforms and social media platforms for the name that you're planning to use for your band, for your act, for whatever, because someone might already have it. If they already have it, there's a chance you're going to get a cease and desist sometime down the road. Okay. So you want to just make sure generally it looks like the name is available. And then if it's good to go, beautiful. But please make sure not only to do that, but go to uspto.gov and you want to search on their
Yep.
TESS, TESS. It's your trademark search database, excuse me, your database. And you want to search to see if there's any registered trademarks. So this is the full gambit of what you're doing before you decide on your name. What do they do after they decide on the name in relation to social media?
Well, for that, then you have to go and start getting all your Instagrams, getting your
That's right.
TikToks. You need to get your name. Now, a lot of times with band names that you're going to find that, while it's cool for a band and nobody's using that band name, they may be using that name for social media. So you want to check all those out ahead of time. And the biggest mistake I see artists make is they'll have a different name from their Instagram account as they will from their Facebook, their TikTok, their YouTube. They'll all be different. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. So what I recommend, just to set yourself up for success, especially if it's a new project, just take whatever your band name is and just put official at the end, or
Right.
whatever band name
Right.
and put band at the end or whatever. But I like official. I like official because that takes care of a lot of just different things. Like later on, let's say as you grow and as whatever, if you have like fan groups and stuff like that, it just have official. But I mean, if you start yourself like that, you're going to have a lot better chance of getting all of them rather than like, oh, I got it for Instagram and TikTok, but I couldn't get for Facebook or YouTube. So now I have to name it something else. So now when you're writing on your ads or you're promoting something, now you got to write multiple things. Doesn't look good. Keep it clean.
All right. So someone's asking, what do you think about Phantasma as a name or a name? So that's fun, but also the same kind of if you're doing that and you can't find it just like that, which you probably won't, adding the word official afterwards may help you. But again, just be consistent. So please go, even if you're not going to post for a while, go and get all of the usernames on all the different social media platforms. Yes, you probably want to take a look and getting the website as well, but that's not, most critical thing that you need to do right away. Okay. So you have the name, the genre of music. Well,
Right.
what are we doing? How do we get a profile on Spotify?
Well, let's start thinking about the image of what you're kind of going for. Let's start thinking about your logos. Let's start thinking about just different things like that you can start working on as you're coming up with your aesthetic of things, as you're coming up with your, songs and just your music and stuff. You want to start thinking about all these things at the same time. Like, don't wait to, You don't want to be just waiting, go, oh, I'll take care of this. We'll start thinking of these things next. All this stuff, you should be sleeping this stuff and dreaming and eating and just taking up consuming, just consuming art and just what is inspiring you. Like the best probably time other than when you are getting your first kind of sold out shows and then your first encores and stuff. Like what's the coolest thing is when you're just dreaming up what the band is going to be. This is like the
Yeah.
funnest thing. This
Yeah.
is when you're going to
It
be able to
really
be your
is.
most creative, because once you're locked in, now you're going to be kind of like, oh, I'm kind of restricted to some of these limitations of what I've already set out for myself. But right now it could be anything. So like maybe you had an idea, that you've had since like you're 8, but like now as you get older, like you're like, oh, I really want to do that. But now you're getting inspired by other things. Don't be afraid. Just explore, explore.
Yeah, and also so do that with each of the kind of different band names and go, when we say this certain band name, what do we see visually? What kind of
Mm.
characters do we see? What kind of imagery? Because that was really helpful for, a project that Orko and I, were working on and just deciding what makes the most sense because, you're going to have to evolve and
Right.
adapt. Are you going to pigeonhole yourself because you're like, man, if we do this thing, we're always going to have to wear masks. So we're going to be wearing masks every single time, every show, everything, forever and ever. Is that something we really want to do? Like, have those
Yeah,
conversations.
that's huge, and I always think about, Dead Mouse is one of those guys that, kind of that broke that barrier because he was just like, "Yo, I got that thing's so hot in there." Like it was like a good idea at the time, but like I'll wear it a little bit. I'm gonna take it off. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I am at this point. So I mean, yeah, it gets pretty tricky when you start, doing outfits. There's been times where I've been in situations where I had signed up for some kind of, costume or outfit in a project or something like that. And it's just like the reality of actually having to do that all the time. It's like, oh my God, like why couldn't I just have not done that? So think about
Yeah.
all that stuff.
All right. So now that you have the social media, you have the name, you want to, and what we suggest is getting like a dummy track to
You're right.
send to Spotify through your distributor so that you can go through the process of claiming the profile and then getting your verification mark. Because if there's a problem, like you don't want to go through all this work and then you can't release
Right.
music or someone else has the name.
Right.
So do
That's
that even if you're going to pull the track down at
right.
some point, but just to have something there like an instrumental, or maybe you're kind of talking and saying the name of your band over it, like, just have something there.
I think that's really crucial. Like just thinking of it is the same way as when you're locking in your Instagram handle, you're locking in your Spotify, you're locking in your Apple, you're doing all this stuff because from the time of your conception of the name to, releasing stuff on social media, you still may be a little bit of time, like a month or two before you actually release your first real demo song or whatever release that you're going to be releasing. So I highly recommend them. I call them like burner tracks because you're just they don't have them just you could have it be something weird. You could have it really be anything, just something that kind of maybe represents your band, but it locks in and you don't ever have to even promote it. You're just kind of place saving your band name.
Yeah. And then what you want to do is you want to post your first, couple of things so that you can cross promote because you already have existing social media. It might just be your personal social media. Maybe you have some other band things or musical things that you're doing, but you can utilize whatever existing audience that you have to drive traffic. So please have at least like one post,
Yeah.
get some logo that you're going to update on all the social media profiles, and then start driving traffic so people are just following you. And then you're going to put in the real work after this because it becomes about okay, let's release a song.
Right.
Let's have a content schedule.
Yeah,
This is
but
how we build.
but even in the same vein, it was just when you're creating your just there's an interesting point brought in the comments. Um, when you're doing your Spotify profiles and stuff like that, and once you have your burner track, well, then now you have an opportunity to create your Spotify for artist profile. Because you'll
Right.
have a track that's actually released, and you might as well get that going. Your Spotify for artists, Apple has the same kind of thing, but you're
Yeah.
getting in all those.
Um, Berlin had the same question. So just asking about, can DistroKid help to create that profile? Your distributor can sometimes help you. It just depends on who you're going through. And so I think with DistroKid, they can, in fact, so you want to just, message
They'll
their
get you your
customer
check mark.
support.
They'll get you your check marks and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But you still have to go into you still have to create your own Spotify for
Mhm.
artists,
And
and that's what you're going
claim,
to
you
use.
have to claim your profile. That's what
And
that's what you're talking about.
you'll so for that you're going to need to make sure that you have your your Facebook and stuff because they'll want to see either an official because they actually verify you. So they're
Right.
going to want to check and see your website. So if you have a website up where you have an address of where you are, or they'll check your Facebook personal account and your artist account. So that's, you need to have all those things set up, and then, and then they can verify you. And then that's where you pitch your music to artists. When you are ready for that first release, you've already have your official release, you already have your Spotify for artists set up. You're already good to go, to do all that and create your canvases and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. And then, again, what he had said, let me just highlight that. Making sure you have your social media and or website and all the things set up is going to help in getting your Spotify verified. It's really important that you do it in that order. This is the
Right.
step by step of how you're actually kind of launching this thing online. So at this point, you've done all these steps and now you're good to go. So it really becomes about now having that first official release, hyping it up, building up the socials. It's always the toughest getting like the first 1,000
Yeah.
followers, but after that, you're gonna be golden. So put in that time, hustle it up, and, yeah, any other pro tips?
No, just stay excited. Like, there's nothing more, like I said, there's nothing more excited than when you're starting a new project and all the possibilities. So have a lot of fun with it and don't be afraid to refine it. Don't necessarily feel so trapped in everything that you're doing, but it is important that you're thinking of this as your business, because you're not doing this to fail. You're not doing this just to have fun. Or, I mean, if you're watching this because you're just a band in your garage and you're just kind of jamming with your friends, I don't really know why you watch this far of it. So, like, I assume that you're trying to take your career seriously. So treat it like your real business, and with all that kind of vibe to it.
And don't forget to subscribe. You have free videos coming at you every single week from Top Music Attorney. We'll see you on the next one.